Well, hello and welcome, my friends. I'm Kodiak Broncos, and today I'm here to talk about 5 things that we learned in the Broncos win over the Dallas Cowboys that just occurred today. But before we get into it, I just want to say a couple things. Leave a like if you enjoy, subscribe if you're not already. You can always wait till the end. Hopefully, I will have earned it. And yeah, without further ado, let's dive right into it because we got no time to waste. So, first of all, this could be a serious launch pad for the offense going forward, okay? Because the reason I think it could be a launch pad for the offense going forward is because I made this point last week when I was on a bunch of other shows. Last year, this very same week was week 8, and it was the Carolina game, which gave our offense a lot of really, really profound confidence that we did not have in the first 7 weeks of last year. You know, we had just played the Saints on Thursday Night Football, and the offense really didn't look like they had gotten going at any point. So, what did you need to do? You needed to come out against Carolina and you needed to set the world on fire. And Bo Nix should have looked excellent, and he did last year. And that was the same case today. Like, after the first drive interception, I was like, oh man, it's going to be one of those games that I was like, dang. But sometimes all it takes is beating up on another team, no matter who it is, and no matter how depleted they are. And that can just give you a bunch of confidence going forward. And the unfortunate thing is that you're not going to be able to play the Cowboys defense every week. You actually have a really, really tough matchup this upcoming week against Houston. So we get to see if we are for real on the offensive side of the ball or not. And also, it looks like the Houston Texans defense, or the offense, has actually come alive today. CJ Stroud had a heck of a performance against the 49ers. So hopefully we will have Surtain for that game, and hopefully everything will be all good. But also, this is the very same Cowboys team that played Washington very hard last week and won 44-22. Okay, so yes, while they're an undermanned team, this was still a pretty good team that you beat the brakes off of today. And even though they were down a couple of guys, you still did what you had to do today. Number 2, the defense did very well off of complimentary football. Okay, first time this year I felt like we've played complimentary football besides the Cincinnati game. Okay, the defense is usually the one doing the heavy lifting. The defense is usually the one that, you know, is scratching and clawing to keep our offense in these games. And even though sometimes it doesn't always look pretty on the offensive side of the ball, like today, especially early on, first drive we had the pick, you know, the defense, they never give up, and they did a really good job today. Now, the defense, I felt like they were going to give up a lot of yards today because the Cowboys, they're a team that can put up points at will. We know that the Cowboys have a very good offense, and the Cowboys, they can, you know, they're called Team 40 Burger, Team 50 Burger for a reason or whatever. Maybe they should be renamed to Team, I don't know, we allow 40 burgers or whatever. But Dak's final stat line was 19 for 31 with 188 yards and 2 interceptions against us with no Patrick Surtain and no Dre Greenlaw. Okay, so Dak did not have a good game. And the Cowboys offense, like, yeah, they showed some flashes, but for the most part, they did not have a very good game at all. Okay, that's why I say the final box score and point total is deceiving, because Dallas was 2 for 8 on third down at one point today. I think they finished like 5 out of 11 or 4 for 10 or whatever. But once again, that's deceiving. On money downs, our defense was absolutely great. And even though bend don't break defense is annoying, sometimes it's necessary. You know, when you have the linebackers that we do, or I should just say linebacker, Alex Singleton, you're going to give up a lot of yards no matter what. So, yes, once again, thank you, Alex Singleton, for your services, but I'm ready to see Dre Greenlaw and Justin Sternad for the rest of the year. So, if Patrick Surtain misses time, I do just want to get this out there right now. This defense will bleed yards, okay? We've been bleeding yards going back to our last 5 or 6 road games, and honestly, well, besides the London one against the Jets, but for the most part, this defense gives up a lot of yards when they're on the road. Now, at home, different story. They're much more stingy, but, you know, we'll see. We'll wait for his status, because if you miss Patrick Surtain, you are in big trouble down the stretch. But, you know, luckily it's an upper body injury, at least for now, but we'll see. We'll see. Prayers up for good news on PS2. Number 3, the young guys balled out today. Okay, I've been very critical of the rookie class ever since the draft, and I don't apologize for it. I thought they would have a lot bigger impact than they did now. I still think taking a depth nickel corner in the first round was pretty bad when you had obvious glaring holes on the team that needed to be addressed elsewhere. But now it allowed your depth to be tested today, and you know, Jahdae Barron, he has passed the test so far. And I just want to give a big hats off to the first and second year players. So obviously, I had mentioned Jahdae Barron, interception today. Harvey, 3 touchdowns. You know, even though he didn't have a whole bunch of scrimmage yards today, was just another Dobbins day where Dobbins was just running it down their throats. They did a good job today. But Harvey was great in the red zone today, and he had that big, long touchdown to really set the tone for our offense after we threw that interception. Bryant had that long touchdown pass, and then Franklin had 2 TDs as well. So the coaching staff, they have a big tendency to bring these players along slowly. So we just got to hope that they get more chances, and we just got to hope that they can catch fire, because today was a great glimpse of things to potentially come for the offensive side of the ball going forward. And yeah, either way, the young guys balled out today. So huge hats off. And I guess you could throw Bo Nix in this category as well, because he is a second-year player. So shout out to everybody on this team for balling out today. There's not one person that I can look at and be like, wow, you didn't play a good game today. Number 4, the Broncos, they continue to take care of business against overmatched teams. Okay, nothing would be worse than us being like labeled as Super Bowl contenders and us just struggling against teams that we should beat the piss out of. Now, the Jets and the Giants, okay, over the past 2 weeks, I'm willing to chalk those up to anomalies. The reason I'm willing to chalk those up to anomalies is because of the fact that whenever we have an opportunity to take care of business against an overmatched team at home, we, for the most part, always do. Now, it hasn't been as pretty as it was last year. You know, we had Tennessee at home. We had Cincinnati, which we did a pretty good job of. And then we had the Giants, obviously, last week. Another team that we honestly shouldn't have beat up, but we should have definitely not. It should have never been that close to begin with. But anytime we should destroy a team at home, we mostly do. Okay? I think back to last season. I think about Atlanta. I think about Carolina. And honestly, today against the Cowboys, you should have destroyed them. And it was good. It was good that you did. Even though the Cowboys destroyed their division rival last week, you know, it's kind of been a wishy-washy season for them. Now, today was a huge day for the offense because there was uncomfortable chatter in Broncos country. There was an uncomfortable chatter about, okay, if the offense has another bad game, what are we going to be talking about? But, you know, those concerns were pretty quickly put to the end, and uh, the dagger was put in those pretty early on by Sean Payton and Bo Nix, who both guys were in their bag today. Okay, Sean Payton opened up the offense, and he rewarded his quarterback, and his quarterback rewarded him with some pretty good play. Now, once again, I had been pretty stark on defending Sean Payton's play calling because I thought Bo Nix had not been very good the first 5-ish weeks of this season, 6 weeks of the season. But last week was just completely ridiculous with all the screens. Like, that was just way too much. That was just, I don't know. Now, they did go to the screen a couple times today, but it worked, okay, because the guys actually wanted to block. And, you know, you still have to go out there and you still have to execute, and they did, okay? There could have been 3 or 4, like, I don't know, backbreaking plays. Like, the interception obviously happened, but you could have fumbled, you could have thrown more picks, you could have whatever. And just be glad that the Broncos did not do that today. And once again, they continued to do that against overmatched teams. All right, we need to have a discussion about Moss, and this is not a negative discussion about him. I just want to get that out there, but this is blatant discrimination by the league office, and they need to look into it, okay? The reason I'm talking about Riley Moss right now is not because he's, like, giving up a bunch of stuff or whatever, not because I think he's a bad player, not because I actually think he's a pretty good player. He's my favorite player on this whole team. I won't deny that Riley Moss being a part of our secondary does tend to lead to a pretty wild experience at certain points, but at the end of the day, this guy is not getting officiated properly, and there's one reason and one reason only, and you know why it is, okay? You know, we've had phantom DPIs get absolutely spammed on Riley Moss, especially over the past 2 weeks. Like, okay, the one against the Giants last week, one of the worst calls I've ever seen. The one against CD today, the first one was fine. The second one was just complete nonsense. And so once again, the officials are treating this guy with a microscope for one reason and one reason only. And once again, he's my favorite player because I'm a huge supporter of equality for all. And the fact that we have a white corner is absolutely exciting. And the fact that we have a guy like that on our team is fantastic. But once again, we need to have a discussion about Riley Moss because he is not being officiated fairly. Okay. His play is not a non-issue. And like I said, I do understand that Riley Moss does tend to be a little bit of a wild experience at the cornerback position. You know, some people will just be like, well, he's allowing blah, blah percentage of passes to be completed. And I'm just like, dude, all that's fantastic. But when he does get beat, it seems to be rather consequential and it does seem to be in a key moment. But he does a very good job. Like, I'm happy he's our cornerback too. And I think he's a top 10-ish cornerback too in the NFL. So that's good enough for me. That's honestly good enough for me. And that's all I have to say. I don't really care about the Tolbert touchdown at the end of the game. At a certain point, you just want the guys to leave healthy. And if burning somebody in garbage time makes you feel better, fantastic. And it lets us kneel down and it lets us get out of the locker room sooner so that we can move on with our days or whatever. But either way, that does it for me. Let me know what you guys think in the comment section down below, and I'll see you guys next time. Molly, salute.